Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you are new around here, my name is Mac, and I'm a leadership and team building coach, but I work specifically with first time team managers. So here's the deal, and you'll have to let me know in the comment section below what you think. But I'm a thinking that, the best aspect of leadership is also, in a lot of cases, the most difficult aspect of leadership, which is dealing with people. It really is. It really, really is. And I would argue that in order to be truly effective in a leadership position, you got to love people because it's like John Maxwell says, right? Leadership is influence. And we all know you can't influence things. It's all about influencing people. So you got to love people in order to be able to navigate, the different personality styles on the team and the different strengths on the team and the difficult personality styles on the team. That's really important too. So today what I wanted to do was talk about how, to manage difficult employees on the team because it is a reality that we all have to face. And we need to know how to do it if we want to be effective and we want our teams to achieve the results that we want them to achieve, right? So, what I'm going to do in this video is kind of just break down the difficult employee types into buckets because obviously in a 10-minute video I can't go into detail on every difficult personality style out there, but I'm going to talk about kind of the most common ones and then share with you some tips in terms of how to navigate. Okay, so that's what we're going to be diving into today. Now, I want to encourage you to stick with me until the end of the video because I actually have a really special announcement for you at the end. So don't give up on me in the middle of the video. Make sure you stick with it to the end. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about the first difficult employee type, which is the complainer or the person that tends to make an issue out of everything, right? I think we've all worked with someone like this who, no matter how positive something is, they see the negative and then they proceed to complain and complain about it. This is really bad for a team because, of course, as a manager, you already know that you need the buy in and enthusiasm of everybody on that team in order to achieve the results you're trying to achieve. But you're never going to be able to do that if you have someone on the team that is so negative and is pointing out all the challenges rather than solutions. And as a result, they're dragging everybody down because it does tend to rub off. So, of course, we already know you got to deal with it. Now, before I get into talking about what specifically you have to do to deal with it, I want to call out something that is very important with all the difficult employee types, which is that the difficulty that you're experiencing is simply a symptom of a deeper issue. So, for example, in this case with the complainer, the deeper issue usually falls under three buckets. So, number one could be that they feel that they are overloaded and they have way too much on their plate when really and truly they're just not good at managing their time or prioritizing properly. Number two could be that they really do have too much on their plate and they don't feel supported by people around them. Or number three, they do not feel confident in figuring out how to do what you're asking them to do. And so their default is procrastination, which comes off as complaining. You see, knowing the root cause really helps you to better navigate the situation. So you, as their manager, can really approach this in two different ways. First of all, you want to literally approach them about their workload and how they can better prioritize and better manage their time so that they're getting more done and not feeling so flustered and overwhelmed. Or you can talk to them about giving them some extra support. Or you can help clarify things for them if they're feeling kind of lost in terms of what steps to take, right? So that's the first thing you can do is have that discussion with them with those things in mind. The second thing you want to do is shift their perspective. So when they come to you with a complaint, um, shift it to solutions. So instead of having them complain, have them, use that beautiful juice of theirs to come up with solutions. So right away, like I said, if they're bringing it to your desk or if it's in a team meeting, stop them immediately and be like, listen, hey, Sally, thanks so much for bringing this to the forefront. What do you think is a better way to handle this situation? That way, you're helping them shift into thinking in a more solutions oriented way rather than being bogged down in their overwhelm and then, complaining. The next difficult employee type is the yes person. Now, this individual on the surface might seem great because they're saying yes to every task, every project, every favor that you ask of them. But then when you step back and you take a look at things, you realize, wait, they're not actually following through on the things that they said they would do, which leaves you feeling like, well, I can't trust this individual. Now, obviously, yeah, this is frustrating for you, but I'm sure it's also frustrating for this team member because they're not like saying yes to let you down, right? They have good intentions. It's just that they've overcommitted themselves and they're finding themselves in a situation where they're not able to follow through on their commitments. Now, again, this is merely a symptom. And oftentimes, this is a symptom of someone who perhaps just has poor planning, or it could be fear. Sometimes fear causes them to say yes, or it could be the people pleasing aspect of them coming out and wanting to say yes, even though they know within themselves that they can't do what you're asking them to do. Now, with this individual, it's incredibly important to take that step back and to really think about what their root cause is, because, of course, that will affect the education that you provide them around planning and around saying no, right? But on a more tactical level, with this person, I believe it is really important to provide very clear expectations with this person from the very, very beginning. Now, of course, I preach all day long about setting clear expectations with all your employees, but I think it's very important with this person because they need it. And when I say clear expectations, I don't mean stop at just what they got to do and by when. You got to take it a step further and let them know what the consequences are of not following through on their commitments. And I think that sometimes as managers, we tend to stop here, like we don't tend to do this part, but this is really important. Someone needs to know the impact of their actions, particularly if they are that type of person that tends to overcommit themselves. So you want to make sure that when you are asking them to do something and when they say yes, that you are letting them know, hey, if this isn't done by this time or whatever the case might be, this is the impact of that. So you want to make sure that you are sharing with them the consequences of not following through on their commitments. So the next difficult employee type is the know-it-all. And I don't think we could have a video talking about managing difficult employees without talking about the know-it-all. I mean, it's just not possible. So I used to work with someone like this who, thank God, like was not on my team. This was someone laterally, but she was like always doing this, always adding in her 2 cents about, topics that she was very knowledgeable about and topics that she was not knowledgeable about, if I'm being honest, always doing this. And it was so annoying and so frustrating. And I talked to clients today, and they have employees like this on their team. And yeah, they're feeling the frustration and the annoyance too with this. So I totally understand. This is a difficult person to manage. But something that I noticed about her, and I'm sure you'll notice it too about the people on your team like this, is that their incessant need to talk about everything that they know is really just a symptom. Okay, it's a symptom. And the deeper root cause of this symptom is insecurity. Insecurity is at the heart of what is going on. So, for whatever reason, right, at home or at work, they are not getting the validation that they need. And so they feel like they've got to speak up and say what they got to say and add in their 2 cents all the time so that they can get that validation that they need. So, for you, one of the best things that you can do when it comes to leading an individual like this is you got to learn how to balance the beam of recognition as well as firmness. Okay, you really do. Yes, you want to lean into those moments where you can recognize this individual for the great work that they do because they deserve it, right? They absolutely deserve being appreciated for their fine efforts. But at the same time, you don't want to overindulge because, again, you're training them to do a lot of this because that's what gets them the reaction. So you really got to make sure that, of course, yes, like I said, that you're recognizing them, but also that you're not feeding their craving. The other thing that is incredibly important with this personality type is that you got to just address it, right? You got to have that conversation with them and let them know that it's just this isn't just not working, that's not acceptable behavior. Because, well, think about it. Number one, if it's annoying for you and frustrating for you, can you imagine how frustrating it is for your team members? This type of individual is not someone that is great to be around. And so it causes a divide. And of course, where there is a divide, then work is not done properly. It just can't be, right? There's no way your team is gelling well if there's someone like this on the team. The second thing is that not everybody is self aware. I'll tell you that. And so this person might just not have the self awareness or the emotional intelligence to know how they're coming off. And so if you don't address it with them, they won't know and they'll just continue to do it. So you got to address the elephant in the room and let them know, what's going on. Tell them the truth about how what they're doing is coming off. Now, I know that this might be really awkward. That's why in the accelerator program, I teach my students a framework for having a sensitive conversation like this because it can be awkward. But I can tell you this, having the conversation is better than not. Just make sure that it is direct and that it's respectful. Because at least if it's direct, they get the point. And if it's respectful, then you're not the straw that breaks their back. Because again, we're dealing with insecurity. So we do have to be very gentle in the way that we handle it. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to have the conversation. We absolutely need to have that conversation with them. The next difficult employee type is a person that always comes to you to solve their problem. So I'm talking they're always in your office, or they're always sending you an email, or they're always double checking with you before making any sort of decision or taking any sort of action step because they're not solving the problems on their own. Now, again, this is merely a symptom. And oftentimes with this one, it falls into a couple of different categories. So, number one, they might not have the critical thinking skills to solve the problem. Number two, they maybe have the critical thinking skills, but they don't have the confidence to solve the problem on their own. Number three, they just might not have the training or the skills required to do what you're asking them to do. Number four, they're being micromanaged by you, so they feel like they have to come to you for everything. Or number five, in their past, they've had a poor manager, which there are a lot of, who basically said to them, hey, you have to come to me for everything. And so they were trained to do exactly that. And that's why with you, they're doing the exact same thing. Lots of reasons as to why this might be. So many years ago, I went to this leadership conference where the speaker at the conference was talking about this concept of the monkey, which is something that he had actually learned from another leadership expert. And essentially, this concept of the monkey is when someone comes to you with their problems, you want to automatically visualize that they literally have a monkey on their shoulder that jumps off and lands on you. Okay, it lands on your desk, it lands on you, it lands in your vicinity. And that your job as their leader is to ensure that when they leave your office, that they take their monkey with them. Essentially, this concept is just that, hey, when someone's coming to you with their problems, or when your team members are coming to you with problems, yes, you want to support them, but you also want to make sure that you're not taking it on yourself because you will never make progress that way. Now, my mentor used to say something that is very much aligned with that. He would say, listen, Mac, people get paid to solve problems. And if I am solving their problems for them, then what are they getting paid for? And, I got to tell you, I 100% agree with that and have adapted that mentality myself. I mean, yes, I want to create a positive and collaborative environment where I am supporting you as your leader. But at the same time, if I'm solving your problems for you, then that problem has a very high price tag. And that is just not good economics. It's really, really not. And so I have to make sure that you're equipped to solve those issues and that you feel like you are empowered to solve those issues. So, how do you do that, right? How do you deal with somebody who seems to always want to bring their problems to you? And how do you maintain that balance of supporting them, but not doing it for them? Well, the first thing you have to do is put it back on them the very first time. So, something you can say is, listen, Sally, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. But here's the deal, I am very confident in your ability to be able to come up with a solution to this. So, how about we do this? How about you go off and come up with, let's say, 3 solutions to this issue? And then come back to me when you have 3 solutions and we will work it out together. That way, what you're doing when they come to you with their monkey, right, is you are giving it back to them. You're saying, figure it out and come back to me. I will support you once you've thought it through. But first, you have to think it through. So the next difficult employee type is the gossiper. And this is the person that just loves their tea and loves spreading it just as much. Now, this is a difficult one because oftentimes the gossiper is just such a friendly person. They're super lovable, super personable. That's why everyone tells them their tea. But the thing is, them spreading this is very, very cancerous and toxic to the team. And so it is very, very dangerous to the productivity and trust levels of the team. So, what do you do? Even though this person is extremely lovable, what do you do if you have a gossiper on your team? Well, there are 2 antidotes when it comes to dealing with the gossip on the team. And one is steeped in the culture and the standards that you have set forth for the team. You know, If you on any level have kind of allowed gossip to spread on the team, then you're basically saying that it is okay. So what you want to do is take a step back and like ask yourself, hey, at any point have I allowed gossip to spread on my team, or have I participated in it myself? Because I know for me, I've done both of those things. Like I've on many occasions allowed things to spread, and I've been the one involved in it as well, because it is so easy to get sucked in once you hear a story. But you can't, especially if you're the one that's saying, listen, like gossip is toxic and we don't want this on the team, then you can't be the one, participating in it, because you have to lead by example, because they're obviously going to follow your example. The second antidote is to make sure that you're being very transparent with your team. When people don't have that full picture, it's so easy for them to come up with their own narrative. And the gossip loves that. They love, you know, inserting their story into a narrative that is kind of empty. And so you got to make sure that you have a really solid communication plan for when things are changing or when an incident happens, so that you can get in front of it and make sure that everybody truly understands what's going on, and that they're not like, tempted to go into this gossip mill that often happens when they feel like they're not entirely sure what's happening. Okay, so that's it in terms of my suggestions when it comes to managing difficult employees. Listen, I know it's tough. I know it's not easy, but I also know that you can absolutely do this, because I have that kind of faith in you, my friend. Okay, so now let's move on to the mini surprise that I had for you that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. So here's the deal. Over the past couple of months, I have been getting inundated with questions from you guys. I mean, it's great to hear from you. I love hearing from you guys, but it's a lot of questions. And I'm finding it kind of like hard to keep up, especially on the YouTube channel, because I mean, I can only do a topic once a week or maybe every other week, depending on the season of my business, right? Like if I'm helping a lot of clients and I can't come out with as many videos as I would like. So here's my solution, or here's what I'm thinking is a solution to this. I am going to dedicate one video, let's say every other month, to just answering your questions. Okay, so I will dedicate one whole video to just going back to back to back, answering as many questions as I can that come in. Now, of course, like I'm not going to read your name, and I'm not going to share any of those like privacy details, because that's just not appropriate, but I will make sure to answer your question in a way that you know that it's your question. You just have to be there watching it, of course, right? Okay, so here are the instructions in terms of how to get your question to me. So I want you to send your question to support@makitaandrews.com. Okay, so support@makitaandrews.com, and put in the subject line question for Mac. That way, my customer support lead can like sift through all the questions and send me the ones that are most relevant to everybody, because I want to make sure that I'm answering questions that can help a multitude of people. Okay. And again, I want you to send it to support@makitaandrews.com. Don't send it to me, because if you send it to me, like my inbox is really hairy. There's a ton of stuff in there. I might miss it. It's better if you send it to my support team. So please send it to support@makitaandrews.com. Okay. Either way, I am like so looking forward to adding this segment to the YouTube channel. I think it's going to be really, really beneficial for so many people. And so I'm excited to get your questions, and I can't wait to start this segment. I think I'm going to call it Ask Mac. I don't know. Ask Mac Attack. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. I'll think of it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think I should call this segment. All right, guys, it was so great to be with you today. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I know it's only Tuesday, but I hope so far it's been going well. And I wish you a fantastic rest of the week as well. And do not forget to keep smiling. All right, I'll see you in the next one.